Coming to you from Crash Studios in Music City, USA, Nashville. This is the Rich Redmond Show. On this episode, legendary Top Call Nashville drummer, Greg Morrow. And now, Rich Redmond.
What is up, rock and rollers? Rich Redmond here. This is another episode of the Rich Redmond Show, coming to you from Music City, USA. It's always been a cool place, but it's cooler than ever. And this is the podcast where we talk to musicians, producers, comedians, actors, anybody in the creative arts. As always, Jim McCarthy.
And drummers.
And a lot of drummers. It's the low-hanging fruit because I know a lot of drummers.
It figures, though.
It's just right there.
That's right.
You know?
Great people, great conversations.
And you're a drummer.
I am.
And you have a new drum set.
I do. Thanks to you.
So
we'll have to do a video for it.
No, it'll be fun.
Put it in a shrine.
So we caught up on current events. We were talking about the Ryman event that happened, the fundraiser for School of Rock. Mm-hmm. We talked about me getting audited by the IRS for my 2017 taxes. What's going on in your world? Catch me up. You know why? Because my band catches me up on all the current news. I don't watch the news. Why? Because I want to stay in a positive frame of mind, unicorns and rainbows. I don't want to hear about the Middle East. I don't want to hear about the far right or the far left. I just try to stay happy. But I do want to know what's happening.
You can't really avoid some of the bigger headlines out there.
I can.
I'm like you. I try to just ignore it as well, and it sometimes just, permeates.
Is there anything that I missed besides, I don't know?
Recently the Golden Globes where Ricky Gervais
roasted Hollywood.
Yeah, he did.
I've got to tune in because my girlfriend Kara said, are you checking this out? I'm like, how am I checking it out? I'm talking to you right now.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Well, he said, don't get political, just accept your stupid award.
And get off the stage.
And that's what they did.
No, they didn't.
No, a lot of people went political anyways because that's their shining moment to do that.
Yeah, they got a platform and they need purpose.
Yeah.
Because, that's what happens when you make gobs of money in a matter of hours.
Mm-hmm. So. But it's still not as much money as the athletes. Don't even get me started there.
But they still have an ongoing purpose. They still have to work for their money. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And wouldn't you agree that
Tom Cruise is running in all of his movies? That's a workout. He's running from something and everything.
It is. But how long is it taking to make a movie? 30 days?
Probably longer, big budget for him,
Yeah, 45, 60 days maybe. So
I see you looking across the table at our guest today.
Yes.
And I'm always excited about our guest, but really excited because this is a man that shaped modern country drumming in the last 25 years. He's one of the most recorded drummers in the last 25 years in Nashville. Mr. Greg Morrow.
Yeah.
Hey, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. How you doing, man?
Thank you for doing our fun little show here.
The little pad.
There we go. I always hit the wrong ones. I was on the wrong bank. There we go.
You know what I want to do is I want to get those little. I want to label the buttons.
The buttons are labeled. I was just on the wrong.
Oh,
it's
sorry.
Digitally labeled.
Yeah. For those of you guys that are in the know, that want to know, you're like, what gear are we using? This is the Rodecaster Pro, and it's very affordable. And you can go talk to our friend Greg over at GC Pro and get you one. Greg, what's going on, man? I've known you for so long, man, and looked up to you for such a long time. Your drumming is so muscular and musical.
I thought it was just because I was taller than you.
Everyone's taller than me, and I'm shrinking.
Well, you're wearing boots now, so that's it.
I know, I'm breaking in my fries. Jim was actually looking at my fries. I usually wear the low tops with the zipper on the side.
Mm-hmm.
These are the big
showing
boys.
Off. Yeah, they're the big boy.
Yeah. Can you play in boots?
No.
You're a Chuck Taylor guy.
I messed with it a little bit. I historically have just played in those because they felt comfortable. But
yeah.
I've switched to Vans.
You're a Vans guy now.
Well, just I liked them because they were step-ins. They were low cut and
just no laces.
And wore them the last couple of years live, and they got comfortable to me. So
nice.
It's nice to step into a pair of shoes, just to slip into them.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Oh, Jim does that on the daily.
Yeah, dad shoes. Convenience, convenience and efficiency. That's what they're all about. There we go.
So usually, the Van guys and the Chuck Taylor guys are always at war. You usually have to choose a side.
It's not worth fighting over.
I know, especially the older we get. We're talking about our birthdays. It's all coming up so fast. So I mean, I could just catch up everyone with just a small list of the folks that you have played with over the years. Let's just say it's the who's who of music that has come out of Nashville and Memphis.
Played with the Who.
The Guess Who. Blake Shelton, Kenny Rogers, Leonard Skinner, Trace Atkins, Sugarland, Luke Bryan, Dixie Chicks, Sheryl Crow. The list just goes on and on and on. You're from Memphis.
I am.
And music started for you at a young age?
Yeah. Man. Really, yeah. Almost younger than I can remember.
Yeah.
Being kind of captivated by it all. I don't ever remember it not being a part of my, once I gained consciousness,
right,
or part of my consciousness. I was just always
and you're the first
drawn to it.
You're the first professional musician in your family.
Yeah, first professional. My uncle and cousins and all the mom and grandparents sang in church a lot.
Yeah.
Not choir, but like quartets and things like that. So we'd have those all-night singings at the Assembly of God Church, and it was pretty rowdy. It actually, in its way, rocked.
Well, rock and roll, when you think of it, is just like a modified spiritual music.
Well, yeah, it is. And I mean, Elvis, he came out of that. He was a big Blackwood Brothers quartet guy and followed them around and always had Jordanaires and Imperials and J.D. Sumner.
I'm going to move this just a little closer to you.
Stamps. Yeah, sorry.
No worries.
You want proximity of that, don't you? There we go.
I just don't want people to miss the knowledge dropping.
And the warmth of his voice.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, there's a big tie in there.
I remember when I was talking with you years ago, I said, what is the thing that kind of really turned you on to music? And I could have sworn that it was Little Richard.
It was
it
one of the very first things, for sure. It was I'm not sure if it was Tutti Frutti. It was probably Long Tall Sally because it was or Ready Teddy. It was Ready Teddy because it was my uncle, my dad's little brother had records. He had 78s, and that was one of my first exposures to a record and a record player and blah 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 and all. He would play those records for me, and yeah, Ready Teddy. I still have his copy of Ready Teddy.
Well, you're a vinyl collector. When I was lucky enough to drop by your house, the house that Drums built, beautiful spread.
Well, thank you.
There's a room dedicated to vinyl.
Well, it's
a
wall
massive wall.
Yeah, I like records. Yeah. I do. I like the visceral experience of playing, which stems all from, like I was saying, with my uncle and him playing that for me. Yeah, it pretty much planted the seed. And
you were very generous when I came over. You were like, "Do you have a copy of this record?" No. Do you have a copy of this record? You have multiple copies of records, and you gift them to your guests.
I do that a lot.
That's very cool.
I because I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to push anything on anybody, but especially if it's something that I've found special in some way, or it really kind of has turned the light on for me. If someone hadn't heard it, it's like, well, okay, take this. It might do the same for you. It might not.
Let's go down memory lane just for a bit with Ready Teddy.
Oh yeah.
Set, go man, go. I got a gal that I love, so I'm ready. Ready, Ted, I'm ready.
That's jumping right there.
Ted, I'm ready. Ready to rock and roll. Going to the corner, pick up my sweetie pie. She's my rock and roll baby. She's the apple of my eye. I'm ready. Ready, Ted, I'm ready. Ready, Ted, I'm ready. Ready, Ted, I'm ready to rock and roll.
It's a 2-minute song. 2.5 minutes.
Oh, I know. Man, when they get to the solo, it really takes off.
We gotta wait.
Yeah, you gotta wait. You're almost there. The drum's got an accent right here coming up. This is Phil. Drive you crazy. Where is it? Coming up. Right there. Okay. I'm guessing Earle Palmer, that he played on a bunch of Little Richard stuff.
And that's when they cut that live in the studio.
Oh, yeah.
And he was probably singing
everything was happening right then.
Yeah.
Right then and there.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's what you call a right now record.
And that Phil, it doesn't sound like alternate. He's going right. Did he get?
Yeah.
Oh, right, left.
Yeah, or some variant of that. It's not just
No way.
Not just that.
Yeah, like Peter Criss.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that is so infectious. When I hear that, I say to myself, why don't you listen to this music 24 hours a day? Because it's happy.
It is, man.
It's so happy.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Does that affect you in a nice way,
and
Jim?
You could listen to all of Little Richard's stuff in about an hour and a half.
An hour and a half. We could drink one of our screwdrivers.
And I'm thinking there from an engineering standpoint going, okay, do they hear that the mic's overmodulating or is it just me?
None of that had ever happened before. Yeah. So they didn't know if it was right or wrong and really kind of didn't care. I don't think. It was just powerful and moving. And same thing with the Elvis records. No records ever sounded that way before those guys did it. And they were cutting it the same way, straight to mono, tube equipment, ribbon mics, all in the room together. And I mean, in a lot of his situations, BGVs all going on at the same time, sometimes strings.
Just a bleed.
Yeah.
You had to know what you're doing.
You had to know what you're doing, and you had to know how to play on the floor and balance yourself, Well,
it's funny because even from the radio standpoint, back when I came up in radio, you'd study the history of radio because radio is much like television at some point. And when they did radio shows back in the day, it was on the fly.
The shadow knows.
Right. They had to do all like the footsteps and everything as things was happening.
That's pretty
cool.
What
did they call those? They called those guys something.
It was like word pictures. They were like actors.
No, I know, but I mean, there was a term.
Foleyarists.
That's it. Foley.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a great job in Hollywood for a percussionist because that's what it is. Yeah. It's like, okay, we need to walk in the sand here. Okay, so I just have to walk in the sand and then we need you to hit this piece of meat and make it sound like you're punching this guy.
Yeah.
That's
great. That's what the Rocky sound effects were, actually him hitting the meat.
That's great. I like that Sly Stallone, man. Well, I was at the Ryman last night, and I was looking at a picture of the Jordanaires, and there was Elvis in one of these pictures, and he was like so substantially more good looking than everyone else. I was like, he's like an angel. His skin was flawless. He almost looked like a woman.
Yeah, pretty guy.
Holy cow. I know. I just had an epiphany. I was like, damn, Elvis.
Come on, E.
Holy cow. And so maybe did your parents recognize this love of music and percussion? Because I know you ended up going to Memphis State, playing in the drum line, right?
Yeah, eventually, yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it sounds weird to say. I don't mean it to sound weird, but I was well down the road by the time I ever did that.
Right.
I mean, I think my parents finally relented and got me a little drum set. I was 7 maybe, and but I had beaten the stuffing out of the furniture and flattened the bottoms of all the pans, and it was like he's going to destroy everything we got if we don't get him something to hit,
right?
And it just started really just right there. I mean, once the drums were in the house, every day, I'd play along with whatever records I had,
and they were cool with it. They loved it.
I'm not real sure.
Or they just put up with it.
I think it was confusing to them. My parents were really young. My mom was 19 when I was born, and my dad was 21. And I don't at all think
they did that back then.
Yeah, I don't think they saw it coming at all. And they kind of wondered, I think, for a long time, what happened.
And were they around to see the fruits of your labor? I'm sure they were proud of you.
Yeah, my mom is still living.
That's great.
And matter of fact, she came to see us.
With Bob Seger?
With Bob Seger. In October, she came to the show.
Yeah.
And my dad passed away in 98, but he was the long holdout. But we butted heads a lot.
Like, when are you going to get a real job kind of a thing?
Just nothing really kind of in my path agreed with him. And
even when you were in a super successful band, DeGarmo and Key?
Yeah.
No. You say, Dad, do you realize there's sold out arenas? I'm riding a bus. Someone else is driving the bus. I get a per diem. Someone sets my drums.
Yeah, it just, no.
Yeah.
I just don't think he could make sense of it all. And I just think he wanted different thing. He wanted something different for me. Mm-hmm. But, you know, for whatever reason, I was fairly certain as a pretty young kid that was what it was going to be, just because it was. It permeated all of my being, and it was the most natural thing I would ever do.
Go with your natural talent.
Yeah, I jokingly referred to it as my only marketable skill, but it's true.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is a God-given thing. It is a blessing, you know, certainly from God, that to for me to do what I do, and I just say that because of it being so natural. It couldn't have been anything else, because it is so second nature. And am I making sense, or am I?
Yes, no, and you know, it makes me think when you came, you were nice enough to come in 2015 and speak and perform to my students at Drummers Weekend. It was the 4th annual, I believe, and
I'm surprised it wasn't the last annual.
No, you're like delightfully self-deprecating, but you know, but humility is a wonderful thing. But your message resonated, I think, more than any other educator I've ever had, because you had all the drums you use on all recording sessions, and you had the kids come up and look at all your snare drums. You let them sit down and play your drums, and you played the tracks, which everybody does. But you told your story, and it was so heartfelt, and it everybody in that room was connecting with you because you were so open and honest and sincere about your journey playing the instrument.
Well,
it was awesome.
I honestly, I just didn't know what else to do. I'd never done anything like that before ever in my life, and I've not done another one since then. But I just figured, you know what? If this is the only chance I've got to talk to this wide-ranging a room full of people that want to know something. They're here to learn something, and if I'm going to tell them anything, I'm just going to tell them the truth. And it preparing for that brought back things to my memory that I was very emotional about.
Yeah,
and still, you know, am to some degree.
Sure.
But you know, it just made you reassess and revalue, and I don't know, just kind of come clean with yourself and say, hey man, do you really know how fortunate you are here?
Yes.
You know?
So your first teacher was Miss Rebecca Doss, right?
Yeah.
Your first
Rebecca
music
Doss.
teacher?
Mm-hmm.
So the reason I bring that up is because we talk about music education a lot and the power of music education, and how me personally, I'm a product of music education, because I started playing drums in 1976, and I don't know if you've been involved with them, but oh my God, they would love your story. But the School of Rock here in Nashville, we have a School of Rock Nashville and School of Rock Franklin, and it's owned by this wonderful couple that's been married a long time, Angie and Kelly McCrite. And there's 250 School of Rock locations in the world. They have the best. It's incredible. The students.
I've seen the one down in Cool Springs.
Oh my God, so incredible. And you know, if there's parents out there that want to get their kids involved with an instrument, so you're learning bass, guitar, keys, drums, fronting a band, you can do it. And you know, just reach out at my friends Angie and Kelly McCrite at the School of Rock. And I got 2 email addresses. What are they, Jim?
Nashville at schoolofrock.com and Franklin at schoolofrock.com.
That's right, because you know, if the kids learn how to play a musical instrument, it's a gift that keeps on giving. Even if they don't become professional musicians, they're going to learn life skills. They're going to learn about persistence, determination, playing in a team sport, taking direction. They're going to look at the mirror. In the mirror, they're going to be a pair of foot taller. Their self-esteem is improved. I think it's a great thing. So reach out to my friends at the School of Rock, and they're the sponsor of the show. Thank you guys, School of Rock Nashville, School of Rock Franklin. So if you came in and talked to them, oh my God, they would be like, what? You played on what? Leonard Skinner? You just got off the road with Bob. What was this like?
How do you spell that?
Yeah, it's all, I like how you put it. It's all
Wise.
wise.
Yes.
So I was hanging with my friend Peter Keys yesterday, who's since 2009 has been the keyboard player for Lynyrd Skynyrd. And we mentioned you and Lynyrd Skynyrd's producer, Ben Fowler, and it makes me think about relationships, because a lot of the people that you've played on these records with, you've been working with like a lot of the same musicians and producers for 20, 25 years. Yeah. That's so powerful.
Well, it is. And you know, it's part of the life cycle of what we do, because at some point the wave crests. Mm-hmm. And the people you work with, you know, move on to other things, or you know what I'm saying? It's part of the cycle of life.
We get our 15 minutes.
Whatever you want to call it. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, those long-standing relationships, they become real special. And Ben's certainly one of those for me. I'm trying to think of the very first thing I ever did with Ben was probably something with Josh Leo. And then he brought me in. He was working on an acoustic Bad Company record.
Yeah, I saw that in your credits.
And he brought me in to do a bunch of percussion stuff on that.
And was that with the original singer?
No, it was with Robert Hart.
Okay.
It was with Robert. I'm pretty sure it was Robert Hart. Yeah. But Simon was playing on it, and anyway, Ben's someone I've worked with a lot over the years, and he's a great guy. Just really, you know, sweet guy and very skilled engineer, you know.
Simon's a great musical drummer. Oh, man.
Well, he's just one of those deep pocket guys.
Yeah.
He always plays the right thing for what he's playing.
Yeah.
He knows his element, and he plays to his strengths. And that's a big thing.
Yeah.
Big thing.
Big. Mm-hmm. Having instinct. Mm-hmm. We have to have instinct in this craft, whether you're playing live or in the studio, but especially in the studio.
Yeah.
You know.
It's one of those things. It's a very immediate thing, especially here. And
the way we cut.
Yeah. It's, you got to know, just like I was saying about that Little Richard, it's a right now record. The sessions here are right now. Mm-hmm. I mean,
by the time we've tracked 5 songs, they're just getting a bass drum sound in Los Angeles.
Maybe. Yeah. It's I remember, not that I've worked in Los Angeles a bunch, but a friend of mine, Ralph Shuckett, who was in the original Utopia band, I was doing some work with him before I moved here. It was in the 90s, and he would bring me out there just on occasion to do some things.
Isn't the sunshine beautiful?
Yeah, it is. But we have sunshine here, too.
I know, but not as much.
Yeah, well. Anyway, we came in to do this thing at Gold Star. And it was, he wanted me to cut there. And it was me and a bass player. It was just the two of us. And, but he rented this whole huge studio just so we could say we had cut there. But, I remember some of the people getting upset because I was moving at Nashville pace.
Right.
You know?
And so people were like, why are we cutting so fast?
Well, and it's like, really? You know, I'm 2 or 3 passes in, and Ralph's saying, man, that's great. And everybody's going,
yeah.
You know,
now you're going to have to overdub to the drum track.
Yeah, it was a funny, you know, there was that difference in approach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Whatever.
And they say the South is slow.
Well, when there's commerce involved.
Yeah. Art and commerce meet. Well, you know, the interesting thing is that anybody who's caught up with me, they know my story. I moved to Nashville in 1997 to audition for Trisha Yearwood, Deana Carter, and Barbara Mandrell. And I had to learn the entire Did I Shave My Legs record for this audition. And I'm listening to this song, Strawberry Wine, that put this young singer, Deana Carter, on the map. And I'm thinking to myself, who is this guy? Because it sounds very different from the other things that I've been listening to. And that's you, Greg Morrow. Let's hear a little bit of Strawberry and we'll go down memory lane.
All right.
Space.
He was working through college.
Ain't nothing but R&B songs.
My grandpa's farm.
Yes.
I was thirsting for knowledge, and he had a car. Yeah, I was caught somewhere between a woman and a child. One restless summer we found love growing wild on the banks of the river on a well-beaten path. It's funny how those memories, they last like strawberry wine. At 17, the hot July noon saw everything. My first taste of love, whoa, bittersweet, the green on the vine, like strawberry wine. I still remember.
Dang. It is that's to me one of the most challenging feels in the history of popular music.
Yeah.
Because there's 2 extra beats. And where are we putting 4? 1, 2, 3, 4,
And
5,
how much
6.
does it swing in between them all?
Yep. And there's even a buzz roll in this song.
Yeah.
Is this the Foam Green Slingerland kit?
No, it was a Caribbean Blue Gretsch kit. I remember exactly what it was.
Caribbean blue. So you like shades of blue. You're
just-
wearing a blue shirt?
No, I liked whatever I could afford at the time. That's what it was. But
So when did the iconic Greg Morrow
the first
foam
record I ever
thing?
used that on was My Town, Montgomery Gentry.
Oh,
First
yeah.
album I ever used it on.
And then a lot of producers started and engineers were like, I like that.
They were going, oh, that's a different thing.
The Rich Redmond Show will be right back.
Well, our big tagline has been inspiring kids to rock on stage and in life. We changed it actually to inspiring the world to rock on stage and in life, because when kids are here, they learn so much more than music. They learn how to be on a team. They learn responsibility. They learn to take responsibility for their actions. They learn to organize their time. And we try to teach them, you know, not to be that person that nobody wants to be on a tour bus with.
Connect with School of Rock today. Search School of Rock Franklin or Nashville. This is the Rich Redmond Show.
Every time I think about changing a snare drum head, I always think of you, because I think a lot of people overchange their heads, especially for recording sessions. And I've had a Remo CS Black Dot
yeah.
on a snare drum for 9 years.
I believe it.
And I keep telling John Hull, let's change it. He's like, I don't know. It's got a thing, man. I don't think we should. I said, you're right, Greg Morrow.
Yeah, I haven't changed it. I think I'm starting year 6 on the green kit heads right now.
On the toms.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't pit. You have a lot of there's a lot of power, but you're not going through the drum.
I don't really know. I think it's just a little bit of that synchronicity between the size of the stick, the stroke, the tension on the head itself, you know, where the drum is tuned.
Yeah.
You know, like if you got small drums and you're trying to tune them low, you're going to trash way more heads.
Yeah.
You know, these are big drums, so consequently I'm bringing them a little more up, and the head has more resistance, so it's not quite so susceptible to.
You tune. I noticed that you tuned higher than I expected.
Oh yeah,
when you're right by the kit.
Mm-hmm, yeah,
and then you use smaller sticks.
Yeah, they're a little on the smaller side.
Got tree trunks, man. I tried 2 Bs one time, and I felt a little bit too cozy pal. It was like too much, and then so I've sat in the 5B area.
I just found, for me, once again, you find what's right for how you approach the instrument, and for me, because I don't hold the stick very tight, but for me that the weight and lever of that stick just hits the drum right for me, you know. So, I don't know. But that's different for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, everybody finds their thing, you know, as far as the touch on your instrument.
I just love that. That's what brought me to Nashville, man. You know, I had to learn a bunch of Eddie stuff on the Trisha Yearwood work. I had to learn
Eddie stuff on Trisha too.
And it's right, because you tour. Are you still working with her a little bit?
I'm on her new record.
Great.
And her new record is really amazing. It's really great. She sang her.
She can sing. Off. She's a songbird.
She was bringing it every take we played. She sang, and I'm not sure exactly how many of the vocals were cut right then as we tracked, but a number of them were. A lot of it was.
You worked with all the songbirds, so we're talking Amy Grant, we're talking Trisha Yearwood, we're talking Leanne Womack, we're talking Leanne Rimes, any kind of Lee. Yeah. You've played on the record.
Yeah.
You know, and what a fun thing to like show up in the morning at 9:15, a beautiful set of drums are ready to go. You grab your cup of coffee, you catch up with everybody, you hit some drums, then you go, what are we doing today? And it's all a surprise. It's a fresh, new, exciting day every day.
It is. You've done it.
Yeah.
You do it.
Yeah. Speaking of, another song that made me go, wow. I was going to say Wide Open Spaces, right? Is that for you? Dixie Chicks. She was such a little firecracker.
She still is.
Doesn't know what I'm talking about.
Now those are Slingerlands. It's not the green kit, but it was a Shelton.
Left home, who's never struck out to find a dream and a life of their own.
It was such a fresh
a place
record when
in the clouds, a foundation of stone. Many precede and many will follow.
Darken?
A young girl's dreams no longer hollow.
Sure, it was me. Yeah,
it takes the
famous
shape
Ludwig
of
tambourine.
A place out west. But what it holds for her, she hasn't yet guessed. She needs wide open spaces, room to make a big mistake.
Slight swing on it.
She needs new faces. She knows the highest stakes.
It's all in the angle. Play it about 40 or 60 degrees.
Is that the trick?
Yeah. It was for me. I had to figure that out.
Yeah. Because every time I try to shake a shaker or a tambourine, it goes like straight and...
Yeah, I know, and you can't do that.
It's a lot harder than it looks.
It sure is. Yeah. That is so good. Man. Okay, so we've got this wonderful playlist. I said, Greg, if we put a playlist together of 5 of some of the things that you're the most proud of, we're gonna entertain everybody with these choices. But let's talk about what you just finished, which was 2 or 3 years with Bob Seger. Is it a farewell tour? Is it really a farewell tour, or is he going to pull a share?
No, according to him and them, he said he was done when he was done.
Yeah.
and they, we did the last show, so.
I wish I had seen it. Dang.
I wish you had it too. It was it was a good bare knuckle rock and roll show. It was just it was one of those things. These days shows are different these days, and I think anybody that's been around a number of years remembers back when ELO got absolutely lambasted for playing with tapes.
Are there tracks happening with Bob Seger or no?
Yeah, well, that was going to be my point.
Okay, gotcha.
And how that has permeated live performance these days, where essentially these things right here
are running our life.
Are running those shows.
Yes.
And I mean, you see literally everything, like lighting cues, everything is coming off time code, off a master computer. And even the pace of the show, the space between songs, the count-offs, everything is down to the second,
To keep it flowing.
Yeah, I mean, hit the space bar, show has started, show's over, hit the space bar.
Yeah. Hope you don't have to go to the bathroom.
And it's amazing how much you're not really hearing.
As a musician, or?
Yeah, I'm just saying what you think what you think you're hearing, you're not really hearing.
I don't get it.
Well, you see what you think you're hearing.
Oh, got you.
But
right,
it's not really what you're hearing.
Right. And it's a very much a Nashville band, right? With Rob.
Now I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about the general state of live touring these days.
Yeah. Well, like with us, we're on. We have 2 Pro Tools rigs running in tandem, and if one fails, the other one picks up.
Right.
Probably would be more secure in doing Ableton because it's more reliable, but we didn't go that route. And so back in the day, when we started incorporating Pro Tools, I would say hit it and the click would start, and then I would go into the microphone and count off the band with a count off mic. Now I've pre-recorded my counts,
right.
So I have more time to wipe my brow, get some water, use some chapstick, just take in the experience more. Yeah. The only thing I have to worry about is we have guitar changes on every song.
I know.
So I have to make sure I'm watch Jason. Everyone good? Everyone got their guitars? Hit it, Pro Tools guy.
Yeah.
So I got to be on it.
Well, I didn't have to do any of that with Seger. There was no computers, no tapes, no tracks, no nothing.
Oh, I thought you were telling me that a little of that was happening.
No, I'm telling you, none of that was
That was
happening.
Great.
Yeah.
So you watched Bob when he was ready. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I still had to look at 5 guitar players and a horn section and the background vocals and make sure everybody was where they were.
Yeah.
Before I counted, because the counts were all on me.
Yeah, and like Jim would say, the fire in my eyes has turned to a cloud in my eyes because I have cataracts.
Yeah.
I'm too young for this, but I'm getting them removed in May.
Good deal. John Oates just had, I was working with him the other day, and he was telling me he just had cataract surgery.
I just saw him at Bricktops.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he was so glad. He was like just raving about the surgery, and he had lenses put in as well. He said, "Man, he said I cannot believe the difference.
Yeah,
it's a new world.
I can't wait to wake up in the morning and be able to see where I'm peeing. It's great."
Like Hall & Oates, John Oates?
Rather than just feel it in your socks. Sorry, oversharing, too much information.
John Oates played one time at the NAMM show, and Chad Cromwell was going to back him up, but there was a sound check, and Chad couldn't do the sound check, so my friends at sound check were like, "Can you come by and play 2 songs with John Oates?" And I was like, "Yeah, great." It was funny, and they passed out number charts, hilarious. But then I didn't get to do the gig.
I'm the guy who does.
It's what?
Watching you.
Oh. John's a great guy.
Yeah.
He really is. He's really embraced this community here.
Well, it is so special.
He's all in.
You know, as far as like people lifting each other up and supporting each other and say, let's write a song at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
It's going down, you know? So what do you think the difference is touring now and back in the day when you were working with DeGarmo and Key? Do you enjoy it more? Do you enjoy it less?
Well, I enjoy it again.
Yeah.
I guess is what I should say. I always enjoyed it. And the main reason...
we're above my garage, sorry.
That's okay. The main thing that happened when I kind of stopped touring was having a child, having my daughter.
Now your daughter plays percussion, right?
Yeah, she did for a long time.
Yeah,
she played marimba in band and did great.
Did she move on to the real world now?
Yeah.
She got a real job?
She just got married in
Good for
April.
her.
So.
Wow. But, do you like the husband?
Yeah, he's a great guy.
What does he do?
He's an orthopedic surgeon.
Oh, of course you like him. That's good. She's gonna have a quality life.
Well, he's 6 months into his residency, so they've got a long way to go.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Beamers and Bentleys, baby.
Something. You know, they're both pretty frugal characters.
Yeah.
They just they got both good heads on their shoulders, and you know.
Were you frugal? I mean, it slips through my fingers, man.
I just, maybe in some ways.
Yeah, but you bought a lot of records.
Bought a lot of drums. Bought a lot of drums.
Oh, I remember you telling me.
I bought a lot of guitars.
You said guitars go up in value. Drums don't necessarily go in value. Definitely not as much, and they're not worth anything until you sell them.
Until you sell them. None of it's worth it until you sell it. The thing about drums, I mean, as much as I love them, and they're just so hard to keep up as a collectible. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? The maintenance and space. and all that stuff. It's really tough. So
but the snare drums that you bring to a recording session are like, if you made a list of those things, and you, I don't know if you want to tell people what those things are, but there's like a case that holds 8 drums, and those 8 drums are like the holy grail of snare drums.
They're certainly, I mean, to me, they kind of are. Yeah, there's a late 20s Real Black Beauty in there, and a 4-inch nickel standard, and a Rogers Power Tone, a couple of a metal and a wood one of those, which are really underrated drums. Both of them are undervalued and underrated.
Yeah.
I have a number of they're solid. They're called solid drums.
Yeah, they went out of business, but they're so good.
Well, it was Craviotto before Johnny was Craviotto. You know what I'm saying? It was Johnny's company with Bill Gibson
from Huey Lewis and the
before
News?
he became before it became Craviotto Drum Company. It was what he was making.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, that Wide Open Spaces was one of those drums. It was a Coca-Cola snare drum on there.
Yeah, I've told you about the
Jim.
Greg Bissonette's kit from 1989.
The Eat 'Em and Smile tour?
Yeah. The black and white pearl that he played on. It was for sale, and the price keeps going down. I can't remember where I've seen it, but it's on Facebook.
It started at $11,000.
Yeah, I think it's like around 7 or 8 right now.
Yeah, I've actually seen that. Yeah.
And you ever see the up close pictures of them?
No.
Oh man, they're trashed.
Well, there's a lot of miles on that.
Yeah.
Now, Greg,
a lot of chips and stuff.
You and I, we talk about drums, and you're like, Rich, you're an off-the-shelf modern guy. You don't have any vintage drums. You told me to buy those.
I never.
No, you told me to buy those. Those are 1974 Ludwig Pro Beats,
right.
And you said, go give this guy $1,300 right now.
Yeah, for that.
And I did.
A heartbeat.
Yep.
Are you going to set those up?
I mean, if the project warrants it, like right there under the microphones right now is a 1989 cherry red Yamaha recording system custom kit played by Dave Weckel in a clinic. And my drum tech, Johnny Hole, said, I'm working for a rock producer. He wants to get rid of these and you should buy them. And he goes, what does he want? And I said, and I got them. They're amazing. You got to have some recording customs.
Well, I mean, yeah. Sure.
Okay. Here's a question for you guys.
It's such a specific sound.
Well, they are. Yeah, it is a very specific. Just like those are a very specific sound. But the thing about it is, those are on every record you loved for decades.
Yeah, like if I was going to do a Stone Cold Americana Wilco type record, I would set those up immediately.
Yeah, but if you were going to do Queen or Mott the Hoople or Deep Purple, all that stuff was
Zeppelin
those drums. Yeah, Zeppelin.
But I mean, if your dream drum kit. What would it be?
Me?
Was there anybody that you modeled after that if you could have that drum kit, would it be? I want you to think about that too.
Man, that's a tough one.
Ringo's kit?
I think no. Well, I mean, that's kind of an obvious.
So
I think the
Rich.
coolest one that you could have possibly had was maybe the Pictures of Lily kit.
Pictures of Willie?
Pictures of Lily, Keith Moon.
Oh, Keith Moon. Yeah.
His stuff, his drums were just always so crazy looking. But yeah, I mean, a Ringo kit. That when we went to get my first drum kit, as a kid at 6-7 years old, I'm just seeing the Beatles. I'm like, oh, could I get something like Ringo? And my parents, oh yeah, we'll go. Let's go find. So we go around to the music stores in downtown Memphis. And we ask, do you have anything like Ringo plays? And they said, well, we sure do, right there on the shelf. And they say, well, how much is that? And it was like $600. And they immediately are going,
Yeah, lay away.
They just, no, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to happen. So we, and they gently, my parents, said, well, we really can't do that. So they move us on. They try to sell us a trick sign kit. And it's like, that was, $400, $450, something like that. That's still a little too much. We kind of come home, and we used to shop at this place called Dixie Mart. That was kind of an early kind of wholesale members shopping place.
Costco type.
Pre-Costco.
Pre-Costco. But anyway, they carried some musical instruments, and they had a little 3-piece blue sparkled E.W. Kent, 2213
Kent drums.
Kent drums. And that's what I wound up getting.
That's awesome.
Rich, what was your dream kit? Were you a dream kit guy?
I wasn't a dream kit guy. The first thing I got was like some no-name brand blue sparkle snare drum and a no-name brand bass drum and a cracked cymbal. And then my dad helped me get a cherry red Yamaha stage custom. Giant drums. Big,
when was that?
13, 14, 18, 24. Massive drums.
Heavy.
Yeah, I would have been 8th grade, 1983 or something like that.
Yeah.
Because when Ed Sullivan happened in 64, you were 4 years old.
No,
Or like
6.
6, yeah. Did you watch it?
Yeah.
Okay, that was so you were right in there with
I watched it and I held the 45 in my hand as I was watching it. Had the record with me. Yeah. You know, getting back, you made me really kind of reassess the dream kit. The first thing that I ever really coveted, you know, after kind of starting playing and then deciding I wanted something was a Rogers kit.
Right.
A Rogers 5-piece. I wanted a Londoner because the guy down the street had one.
I've always wanted a Ludwig kit growing up. You can only imagine why. Do you know why?
Alex Van Halen.
Alex Van Halen.
It's this guy.
And then Neil, he played Tama for a while, but then he switched to Ludwig.
He started with Slingerland.
Yeah.
Chrome Slingerlands.
The kit he had on the white one from...
he wasn't with Ludwig very long.
No, it was quick. Yeah. But I think he had the white kit from...
You're getting older. It's going to keep happening.
I know I can't think of but All the World's a Stage or Show of Hands.
Yeah,
when
All
they did
the
the
World's a
live
Stage is still the Chrome Slingerlands on the cover.
But on a Show of Hands, he had the white kit. That was one of the first big live shows that they did.
Craig Cramp was a big Rogers guy.
He's Rogers guy.
Yeah.
He was.
Played on some great stuff. He moved to Phoenix.
He did. Retired from the Union and moved out there, and I think he's doing well. I think he's doing okay.
Yeah, I got to check in on him. I love the desert. I love Phoenix, man.
Craig's a really sweet guy. He was right in the thick of all that stuff with the Robs and all that L.A., stuff.
He did. He was in the middle of it.
Well,
what did I notice on your discography? There's something you do with Cyndi Lauper.
Yeah, she came to town to do a country record.
Ah.
Yeah.
When was this?
3-4 years ago.
I got to hear that.
Wow.
Yeah. Because Sammy Marandino is a good pal of mine. Sandy Gennaro is a good pal of mine. And they all have put time in either recording and or touring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a legit thing on her part. I think Tony Brown produced the stuff that I worked on. I'm pretty sure he did. And it wasn't a joke,
Detour.
Detour.
Yeah, she's a very serious artist.
She is. I mean, much more than people give her credit for.
I mean, I love Anton Fig on Girls Just Want to Have Fun. I can listen to it over, and it's a desert island record. Yeah. But then she went on to create all the music for Kinky Boots, and won a Tony, and pretty incredible.
Man, when she came to town with Rod Stewart to open, she invited everybody that played on the record out to the show. And we went to see them, and man, they killed. And she did this thing where she played dulcimer and all this stuff, and she just
full of surprises.
Yeah,
she's great.
Brought it. She was killing it.
She is amazing. Now, you told me that you were very proud of this one, and I think a lot of people would recognize it immediately. I'm sure it was a number one. Travis Tritt, "It's a Great Day to Be Alive."
Yeah, great song.
I got rice cooking in the microwave. Got a 3-day beard I don't plan to shave. And it's a goofy thing, but I just gotta say, hey, I'm doing alright. Yeah, I think I'll make me some homemade soup.
Sorry guys, no drums.
Feeling pretty good, and that's the truth.
But see,
it's neither
there's an art to this too.
Patience.
Just don't play. If there's nothing to play, don't play.
And it works.
It's a great day to be
playing very little.
I know the sun's still shining when
Great harmony.
I close my eyes. There's some hard times in the neighborhood, but why can't every day be just this good?
We knew it.
Oh yeah.
Press roll.
It's been 15 years since I left home. Said good luck to every seed I'd sown.
Shuffle on my hand.
Give it my best and
I don't know if he's playing all those.
I hope they're doing all
I think he's
right.
selecting some.
Now I look in the mirror and
Nope.
what do
There's a lot of
I
subdivision in it.
see? Long
It's my
old
nervous
bear
habit.
staring back at me. Long in the tooth, but harmless as can be. Lord, I guess he's doing all right. And it's a great day to be alive. I know the sun.
It's not Rosanna.
Love this song.
When I close my eyes, there's some hard times in the
That's nice.
neighborhood. But why can't every day be just this good? Sometimes it's lonely. Sometimes it's only me and the shadows that
It's a singing guy, boy.
fill this room.
Billy Joe Walker, I think, produced that.
Beautiful. You know that there's
Desperately
hundreds of thousands of drummers in the world that are so busy practicing the Rosanna Shuffle or speed metal double bass or gospel chops, and they go poo poo. There's no notes, there's no licks. There is so much space between each quarter note. If they played along, those naysayer negative Nellies, if they played along with this record, they would realize that they were flamming every kick and snare because they are not committed to the quarter note and the song and the sub. That is hard.
Well, they're just, I mean, it's just they have a different view of what they're doing. you
But
know?
they don't respect this. A lot of the people
you can't make them.
I can't play that music in Nashville. Are you crazy?
You can't make them respect it.
I
mean,
know.
That's just, it just is what it is, you know?
I like your approach, but there's, I mean, you hear it left and right. You know, it's just like, let's see you play that, kid, in one take.
Okay, we'll play that.
Let's hear some you. Let's hear you rock.
Yeah, play that.
Dead is Rising.
Yeah, play that.
So this is a group called Evans Caps, and this is the other side of Greg's personality. This is probably your personality that you repress on a country session.
something strange keeps on happening.
Same drummer.
A reoccurring nightmare's got me going insane.
There's still some space in it.
Yes.
I slip slowly through the darkness. Why? Just a minute now. So close, baby, I am drawn to the flames, and there I see the dead is rising. The dead is rising.
I mean,
Record that. When was that recorded?
I was up here when we did. Ben Fowler engineered and produced that. We were talking about that a while ago. Let's see, when was it?
all the choices are
Probably.
perfect.
It's been probably. Does it say on there anywhere?
No.
It's been a good 8 years or so. I tell you how that happened. It was weird. I had done that Vicious Cycle Skinner record, and Ian Evans, who is Evans of Evans Caps, he was bass teching for Leon at the time. Well, Leon passed away in the middle of all this, so Ian became the bass player for Skinner, and we finished up this record, and then I wound up subbing for Michael to play University of Florida homecoming in Gainesville at the Swamp,
The stadium there,
Florida
yeah.
football
Yeah.
stadium with Skinner.
Michael Cardelloni, yeah.
Well, me this night.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh my God, I'm playing with Skinner at University of Florida homecoming, you know, and we're doing Freebird and Swamp music and all this stuff. And Ian was playing bass. And he said, man, I've been writing some stuff, and Man, I'd love it if you'd play on some of this stuff.
Yeah.
Well, just call when you get it done. We hit it off pretty well. He was a really nice guy.
Yeah.
And he called and played me this stuff. And when I heard it, I'm like, holy moly, this is just like face-rippingly good.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
no, but I mean, if I was a front man, I would want to have a drummer like you behind me because you know what to do, when to do. All the kick drum patterns are so appropriate. There's space, there's feel, there's subdivision. The fills are not fire me fills. They're radio friendly, rock and roll inspired. It's just all right.
Well, it's just all listening.
Well, you're an audiophile and you know the history of music, especially the last 100 years. And
you're saying I'm old? Wait a minute, is that an old joke?
I'm just saying instead of like, I mean, we have Baroque and classical and romantic and all that kind of stuff, but there's no drums in that. So I mean, we're talking.
So in fact, is it even music?
I mean, just if it started in say like 1917, birth of jazz, and we've done so much in 103 years.
Oh God, yeah, it's been quite an evolution, hasn't it?
Yeah.
But all that stuff, it's just, it sounds so cliche. Serve the song. You hear that? Serve the song. It's played to the song. Well, that's just what I like is songs. I like songs.
I'm a song drummer.
I like trying to not ruin songs if I can help not ruining them.
Yeah.
And
you never do.
Well,
but there's a lot of people that do.
I have evidence to the contrary about whether I've ruined a song or not.
Yeah.
But no, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's what you choose. You can still convey power and aggression and all that stuff and still have it be tasty, I guess.
Yeah. The other day when I was playing on, I did 11 songs right here with Johnny Engineering, and I have those Sabian artisan cymbals up, and so they're darker, they're thinner, and he was just noticing, he's like, hey, when you record in this room on those artisans, you just tickle them.
Yeah, you play different.
And it's great for recording. It really is. Now, when there's 24,000 people and they're drunk and puking in their mini skirts, you got to give them a little bit of Hollywood.
You do. You're right.
The flash of the heavy cymbal. 22-inch crashes.
Yeah, man. And then I was looking at your, you were nice enough we did an article together for Modern Drummer magazine.
I still should thank you again for that.
That was 5 years ago.
Well, but you took the initiative. They weren't interested in me.
Well, the thing is you said, who wants to read this? And I said, everyone.
Well, I still don't know that, but I do owe you for that, and I thank you that you went to them and said, hey, let me do this. It meant a lot to me.
And they're like, oh, you mean the guy that's been playing on every record out of Nashville for the last 25 years? No problem. Yeah, here you go. Uh-huh. But in that article, we listed not the favorite records that you've played on, but your biggest influences. And I think that the listeners might be interested in some of your largest influences. Are you experienced? Hendrix. Number one record, Big Star. Mm-hmm. And Big Star is 1R. Sly and the Family Stone, greatest hits, Greg Errico.
Yeah.
And Errico.
Yeah.
Is he Italian?
No.
Okay.
I don't know.
Robert, and then this one doesn't have drums. Robert Johnson, King of the Delta Blues.
Yeah, that's a spooky record, man.
Ooh.
It just you can breathe the Delta when you listen to that record.
I wonder if we can find it on here.
I'm sure you can. If you can, play Preaching Blues or something like that.
Jim, what have you always wanted to ask one of the most recorded drummers in history?
Do you ever get tired of hearing yourself? You ever walk
on the radio,
a grocery store?
I don't ever hear myself on the radio,
or an elevator, or a supermarket, or a Dillard's.
I've had those. I've had those experiences, and it's always. I mean, it's funny how it'll sneak up on you. It's like it's been playing for a while, and then you go, oh, wait a minute.
When you air drum to yourself, and you're like, oh, that's me.
Well, I'm sitting here listening to you recall what you were playing, what color the drums were. You have a very vivid recall of how the situation was.
Yeah, well, yeah.
When you hear the record, say a Trisha Yearwood record that came out years ago, or pick any record, can you picture who was on the floor with you, the producer, any experiences from that actual day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mostly Mostly.
The smiling faces that we're on the floor with all the time.
Yeah, it was like that. And so, they're all, you've done this enough to know any around here, there ain't no slouches in this town, man. No. If you're on that floor, you deserve to be there. Whether you stay there or not, that's up to you. That's up to how you act when you're there.
Sure. It's not stressful at all.
But I mean, it's a special thing to walk out there with those guys and be counting this thing off and helping someone fulfill their dream.
Oh, that's heavy. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You're here, and this artist is in there, and this is their thing, man. And they're entrusting this to you, and wanting you to bring yourself to this event, and so it's worth soaking in. You really should, just out of respect, you should pay that much attention to what's going on, and not just
here we go, another song.
Or out of there as soon as you can, and not thinking about what you've just done or who you've done it with. That's the thing. I would have never gotten to play with Dan Dugmore or Michael Rhodes or, you know what I'm saying, just countless really special, amazing guys. I'm constantly amazed that on whatever level I was accepted into that world with really no basis other than just someone asked me to come, and then doing what I did, and then it's up to them to decide whether it's worthy or not.
Right.
When you played that Deana Carter record, that was one of it might have been the very first legitimate. I live here now. I'm here with Nashville guys on this. It might have been the very first session that I did. And it was John Hobbs and Biff Watson and Dan Dugmore and Brent Rowan and Larry Franklin. And they didn't know me from Adam. Not a one of them knew who I was. And I wasn't the guy that they were expecting to be there.
Were they kind?
I wasn't the guy, that usually worked in their section.
Right.
So
you're walking in going, guys, hi.
I'm just, hey. Oh, and Joe Chimay playing bass. And you don't walk in guffawing or anything like that. You have to be confident about your abilities. But I just said, hey man, I'm thrilled to get to do this. I'm.
And it worked out. And 25 years later, you're still getting invited to the party.
Yeah, well,
it's amazing.
On some level,
yeah.
Someone's party.
What was the Robert Johnson song?
Oh, Preaching Blues.
Oh my God. There it is. Sorry, guys. Sticky fingers.
Blues walking like a man.
Blues walking like a man.
I love it gone. I blues walking like a man. What a blues. Give me your right hand.
Think about when this
and
was. Turn them all upside down. Pre-World War II.
And it tore me all upside down. Travel on so far, just can't turn you around. The blues.
I love that line right there.
Nice guy.
Low down, take it here. Yes. Take him now.
He's bringing it now.
And a low down, take it here. You ain't never had a mind.
I mean,
you can see what grabbed Clapton and Keith Richard and all those. They would all lay down for that. You know what I'm saying? It's
in an era where we're making laptop music on the grid. It's amazing. It gives me goosebumps.
I know. You don't
one microphone and the guitar and at the same time.
Yeah. And him. And no tape machine. Disc recorder.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God.
I want to say that one song he's a Hawaiian guy who died, a big guy.
I know you're talking about.
Yeah, who did the Over the Rainbow.
That's haunting.
I think that's actually a one-off when I recorded that.
Yeah.
Similar situation, but
just a one take. Here we go.
In the 90s with one microphone.
Yeah. Oh my God. And then one of your big influences, one of your favorite bands is this Big Star, which was like the early power pop.
Yeah, at a time before it was power pop was even known to be what became power pop. It was basically just Anglophile music. It was a continuation of, that melodic kind of jangly guitar, Badfinger.
I'm a sucker for that.
Me too. And really song driven.
What's their greatest song? 13's got the most.
13 is beautiful. There's no drums on it. It's a great song. September Girls. Play September Girls. That's another. I'm sorry, I'm talking off mic.
I love it.
This is pretty quintessential. Then this is their second album when Chris Bell had left the band, but. After you play this one, play a little bit of In the Street. It's just, to me, man, that's just like...
It's happy.
That's everything. That's everything right now.
You can hear the British influence for sure.
From Memphis, Tennessee, right? Yeah. Now, people will know this song. This is Chris Bell, the guy that actually started the band.
Yeah, from that 70s show.
Yeah. And they actually used this version of it on the first season. For the theme, they used it, and then they had Cheap Trick record it from the second season.
And you're a big Cheap Trick guy as well.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta love that Surrender.
Great. Yeah, at a time in Memphis, they couldn't get arrested,
Man, I love that. And then, the Cheap Trick, I just love the Budokan, This is from our new album. It's called Surrender.
Yeah.
Do
you have the complete Budokan concert?
I just have whatever's on Spotify, the Budokan,
Because there's a complete Budokan concert.
Wow.
And it's just stunning. Wow. It's really great. Big Eyes might be one of my favorite things off that Budokan record. Yeah. I love Big Eyes.
Talk about Bunny. What a brilliant businessman. He said at the beginning, sign this, sign this, sign this. And now he just sits at home and makes 25% of all things.
Yes, he does.
That is so smart. Oh my God. Good for you, Bunny.
Yeah, Bunny's a great guy.
Yeah. He's probably got is his drum collection larger than yours?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No doubt.
By far?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What'd you learn?
He actually gave me a snare drum one time. The first time I ever met him, it was 1989, and I was out with Amy Grant. We were doing it was a big tour, really big tour with her, and one of our techs knew him, and got him to come out. He comes backstage in full Bunny regalia, just himself, right? Yeah. And I noticed he's got this big brown paper bag he's bringing in. I'm like, hey, man, I'm just so thrilled to meet you. He said, well, it's good to meet you. Well, it's good to meet you, too. I brought you a little something. He hands me this bag, and I can't do Wisconsin very well, but you know what I'm saying.
Oh, sure.
And he hands me this bag, and I open it up, and it's a 3x13 Ludwig, little piccolo snare. Yeah. Yeah. And I still have it. He signed it, and he's to Greg, go nuts.
Go nuts.
Yeah, I still have it sitting in my drum room.
Wow.
Now, how many snare drums have you accumulated over the years, Rich?
I mean, the thing is, they're so spread out. So I have this home studio. Yeah. I have my cartage at Drum Paradise. I have a locker with Jason Aldean with several kits. I have the drums that are out on the road. I have drums in Los Angeles. They're everywhere. I kind of got cocky and I stopped really kind of like insuring everything. It was just like, I don't know, I was paying so much a year in insurance.
I know.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, you seem to have a real aficionado's taste towards snare drums. How many are in your collection at this point?
Craig's a collector.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
if you don't use it, do you get rid of it?
Sometimes.
If it doesn't bring you joy.
Yeah, if it doesn't bring me joy. I mean, I get rid of utilitarian stuff if I wind up not using it for a while, I will. But I mean, there are a few things that are iconic. You know, the nickel standards, the 20s Ludwig snares. You know, the Rogers snares, and I've got a good little. I've probably got 10 or 12 of those solids from Craviata. Those and they weren't. I mean, there's probably maybe 200 of them. Period.
Dude.
You know.
Wow.
So I wound up with a good little selection of those.
Ooh.
Chris McHugh keep close company with you? 'Cause he's a Craviato guy.
Yeah, he is a Craviato guy. See, I don't have any of the kits of the Craviato kits. I just have these solid snares from before he started the company. But
do you have any doubles of one?
Of solids?
Yeah. See what I'm getting at?
I do. I do see what you. I'll look. I'll see if I do. I don't know. You know, I actually wound up when all that went down, and the way I got involved with them. One of my best friends, if not my best friend, wound up kind of being brought on to run it while there was still something to run,
right?
And try to get out what drums could get out and fill orders before they shut it down, essentially. And they didn't have any labor force actually. And I would go out there for a week at a time every now and again and just work for a week. And that's how I would get paid.
Oh, and a drum.
In drums.
That's great. That's really smart.
So when it all shut down, I think I wound up with like 4 or 5 just raw, complete but raw shells, you know, no finish, no lugs, no hardware, but completed, you know, molded and, you know, trimmed in and ready to go, raw shells. And I held on to them for the longest time. And then I think Ken Coomer got one and you know, just a handful of people that knew I had them said, "Hey, you going to ever do anything with those shells?" I'm like, "Well, what, you know, sure. If you want one, we'll do something." You know, people that knew what they were. Yeah. And wanted a drum.
Ken Coomer's a delightful drummer. We got to have him on. It's just it's wonderful to have some of my favorite people and drummers on the planet. I mean, the fact that I've been studying all you guys for years, and I mean, I can call you friends, but, you know, Eddie and Lonnie and Chris, you all sitting in this chair chatting and sharing your insights and your stories. It's so fascinating. And, you know, Jim, it's really funny. We usually do it a little bit earlier on, but we need to take a break.
You know,
we got to pay some bills.
I think we'll probably work it in earlier.
You want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I smell an edit coming.
Because I was trying to save you an edit.
That's okay.
Okay.
That's okay, because we're going a little long.
That's all right. So
I will tell you this: I'm humbled and honored to be in that list of guys.
Oh.
I really am. You know, because they're amazing people and amazing musicians, and to be counted among them on any level is you know.
Well, you have a legacy that you're leaving behind of recorded music that will always be there forever, and then the experiences you had with the musicians, I'm sure will you know, be in your memories forever.
Yeah, hopefully.
And we're all so lucky to be doing this. Jim, what did you learn?
You know, I learned amongst the fraternity of drummers that you're in that they're all just nice people. You know, that's a real powerful connection that you all have. Just nice, down to earth, you know, very approachable, sweetheart gentlemen.
Yeah.
You know?
I kind of, I don't know if it's something I learned, but I just think it's so wonderful that this is something that usually this drum bug gets us at 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. And a lot of my favorite drummers and friends and colleagues are all in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, and we're all so still in love with the drums.
Yeah, no doubt.
And we use it as a vehicle to change people's lives, so it's a pretty incredible thing. So, Greg, if people wanted to reach out to you, you're on the Facebook, right?
Yeah, I have a
They can
Facebook
find you there.
page. They can find me there. It'd probably be better if you just send me a regular email.
Yeah.
My email address is gringostar, just like you'd think, GRINGOSTARR, gringostar@mac.com.
That is awesome.
Couldn't believe I got it.
Did it start one time at AOL.com?
No.
Okay, it's
always Mac.
Nice. And then if anybody wants to just have me forward things, you can hit me at therichrredmondshow@gmail.com. If you're not a musician, just Google Greg Morrow, and the wiki is going to come up, and it's going to lead you down a rabbit hole of all these wonderful recordings he's been part of. And if you are a musician, put together a Spotify playlist of all this great music that Greg has been a part of and practice along. You can organize the playlist by tempos, by feels, by artists. If you're a young whippersnapper millennial, there's no reason not to get really good at playing the drums now, because we don't have to drop the needle. We just play along with a Spotify playlist.
And that's something.
But this has just been incredible. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you again.
Yeah, man.
I really appreciate it.
I love it. We're going to have to go get that screwdriver. As always, Jim, thank you for your time and talent. None of this would ever happen without you, my friend. And we appreciate you guys listening. As always, give us a 5-star rating if you enjoy the show. Share, subscribe, rate, and review. We're on all the platforms. Tell your friends. Keep coming back for the good stuff. See you next time.
This has been The Rich Redmond Show. Subscribe, rate, comment, and follow us at richredmond.com/listen.